we're diving into one of the most foundational stories out there. It's a tale of two brothers, a single prophecy that completely upended tradition, and yeah, a birthright that was traded for a bowl of stew. This is the story of Jacob and Esau, and it all kicks off with this wild declaration that was made before they were even born.
Right there. That one sentence, the older will serve the younger, just turns an entire culture on its head. You have to understand, in the ancient world, the firstborn son got everything, the power, the wealth, the whole family legacy. So for a prophecy to say, nope, we're flipping that, before these kids even have names, well, it pretty much guaranteed a conflict of epic proportions was on its way. So how in the world did this actually happen? How does the rightful heir, the firstborn, the one who's supposed to have it all, end up serving his younger brother? Well, the answer is a crazy story of desperation, a little bit of deception, and a choice that would literally echo for generations. Let's dig in.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, a prophecy before birth. Because long before these brothers were rivals, the stage was being set by their parents, Isaac and Rebekah, and a very long, very difficult wait for the children they wanted so badly. So get this timeline. Isaac is 40 years old when he marries Rebekah. But look at that gap. For 20 years, nothing happens. They can't have children. It's only after Isaac prays, when he's 60 years old, that Rebekah finally conceives. That 2-decade wait is so important. It tells us this wasn't just any pregnancy. This was a long-awaited miracle.
But this miracle pregnancy? It's anything but peaceful. The text says the children were literally struggling together within her, so violently that Rebekah is completely distraught and asks God, why is this happening to me? This was way more than morning sickness. It was like a war was being fought in her womb, a little preview of all the conflict that was to come. And this is the answer she gets. And look at how specific it is. This isn't just about two boys, it's about two nations. The prophecy lays it all out. There's going to be separation, there's going to be a power struggle, and then there it is again, that stunning reversal. The older will serve the younger. The crucial part here is that this was all declared before the boys were born, before they'd done a single thing, good or bad. It really frames their destinies as being part of a much bigger plan. So that brings us to our next part, the weight of the birthright. What was really at stake here? To really get why this was such a big deal, we have to understand the immense power of this one single concept that pretty much defined their entire world, the birthright. So what exactly is a birthright? Think of it like this all-in-one package deal of special honor, inheritance, and spiritual authority that was just automatically handed to the firstborn son. It was the ultimate prize in that society, a position of huge power and, of course, responsibility. Let's break that down. The birthright came with 3 amazing privileges. First, you became the successor, the new head of the whole family clan. Second, you got a double portion of the inheritance, all the property and wealth. But that third part, that was the real jackpot. You became the heir to the covenant, inheriting the spiritual promises God had made to Abraham. See, this was never just about money. It was about being the guardian of a divine legacy. And now we get to the most famous moment in the entire story, where this huge, abstract idea of inheritance gets boiled down to a very real and very fateful transaction. And these two brothers could not be more different. Esau, the firstborn, he's a man of the field, a rugged, skillful hunter. Jacob, the younger one, is described as a quieter man, someone who stayed close to home among the tents. These totally opposite personalities are the key to understanding the choice that's about to be made. The whole story really pivots on this one moment of pure physical desperation. Esau comes back from the hunt, he's exhausted, he's starving, and he sees Jacob cooking some stew. He demands some. And when Jacob makes his crazy offer, I'll give you the stew for your birthright, Esau says these famous words. He's basically saying, what good is some promise about the future if I'm going to die of hunger right now? And this is the moment the scales just completely tip. It's a total clash of values. You've got Esau, who is laser-focused on momentary satisfaction. All he can see is that single meal, the thing that's physically right in front of him. But Jacob, his eyes are on the bigger prize, the eternal inheritance, the spiritual blessings, the thing that's legally permanent. And in that one choice, Esau trades his entire future for a single meal. Now, before we see the consequences of that choice, the story takes this really fascinating detour to look at the father, Isaac. It's an amazing reminder that these characters aren't just symbols. The text shows them as deeply human, and it shows how flaws and faith can be passed down, kind of like father like son. To really get Isaac, you have to look at his dad first. Even Abraham, this pillar of faith, had moments of really profound weakness. There was a time he lied, pretending his wife Sarah was his sister, because he was terrified that a king would kill him to take her. And what's just incredible is that Isaac falls into the exact same trap. He also passes his wife, Rebekah, off as his sister, driven by the very same fear for his own life. It's a powerful look at how the biblical narrative doesn't try to hide the weaknesses of its heroes. It puts their failures right out there. But despite that flaw, Isaac also shows this incredible perseverance. God blesses him with huge harvests, but his neighbors get jealous, and they keep filling in the wells he digs with dirt. Instead of fighting, Isaac just peacefully moves on and digs another one. And he does this again and again. Eventually, those same enemies come to him asking for a peace treaty, because they just can't deny that God is with him. Okay, so let's circle back to Esau, because that decision he made over a bowl of stew, it wasn't just a one-off mistake. It was a single moment that revealed a pattern in his character, and it created ripples that would affect his entire life. So the next big thing we hear about him happens when he turns 40. At this age, Esau marries 2 Hittite women, and the text says this was a huge source of distress for his parents. And you have to ask, why? Well, because marrying outside their people was seen as a direct threat to the spiritual heritage they were supposed to be protecting. It just showed, once again, how little Esau cared about his family's legacy. So when you put it all together, Esau's story is really presented as this powerful cautionary tale. From selling his birthright for a snack to marrying against his parents' deepest wishes, his life just shows this pattern of prioritizing what he wants right now over what has long-term eternal significance. And that really leaves us with a question that echoes from this ancient story right into our lives today, doesn't it? The principle is absolutely timeless. What priceless things, our health, our relationships, our integrity, are we in danger of trading away for our own bowl of stew, for just a fleeting moment of satisfaction?